thanks for joining us. I'm here with Ted Thomas, who, if you didn't know already, is America's tax lien and tax authority. And hey, Ted, I know you're in Florida and I'm here in Cleveland, but just for a moment, let's head to the golden state of California. Are California tax sales popular? And what do you need to know about doing a tax deed sales in California? Is it a different beast? I mean, everything about California is a little like weird.
Yeah, well, California isn't different in the sense that you can't make money. In California, and tax default property, well, let me just give you one community, and we'll talk about that, and then we can get into all kinds of detail. Okay. Tax defaulted properties are happening throughout California. There's about 58 different counties. Each one of the counties can conduct their own sale. Now, some of the sales in the sparsely populated counties, now there's not too many of those, but the sparsely populated counties, there's just going to be a dozen or maybe 100 tax defaulted properties. There's going to be plenty for everybody. But in the populous counties, like a San Bernardino or San Diego or Los Angeles County, there's actually going to be, I've been at the tax defaulted auction in Los Angeles, where there was over 2,000 properties they were trying to sell in one day. 2,000 properties. If you start snapping your finger, you can imagine that's how fast the auction was going.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of them.
Okay. Hey, before we go on with this, just to clarify, do they also have tax liens in California or just tax deeds?
Well, I spent most of my adult life in California. So during that time, I created much of the tax lien and deed information that we have today that we've been teaching people for these past 3 decades. And the legislature in the state of California did pass a statute, call it a law. They passed a law that any treasurer in the state, now the treasurer is always the most powerful person in the local government because they control the money. So that treasurer is allowed to sell tax lien certificates. However, to my knowledge, no treasurer has decided to sell them. And what California does is they sell a tax defaulted property. In other words, they send tax bill out numerous times, matter of fact, over 5 times. And then if the people don't pay the tax, then the treasurer and the tax collector will confiscate. In other words, they'll seize the property and push the people off the property. And then once they're off the property, then they'll put that up for auction. So as I say, in a small county, they'll have hundreds. In a large county, large population, they will have thousands of tax defaulted property. I have clients buying properties for 6 and 8 and 10 cents on the dollar in California with no mortgage and no deed of trust.
Hey, and I think Ted, in California, don't they also refer to those as Chapter 7 tax sales in California, or is that just something else?
Okay, well, see, there's so much bad information out there. A Chapter 7 is a liquidation in a bankruptcy. So there's 3 things in a bankruptcy. There's Chapter 7, there's Chapter 11, there's Chapter 13. But we're talking about tax liens and deeds. So properties in bankruptcy will actually stay, they call it a stay, will stop a tax property. While it's in bankruptcy, it doesn't go to tax, it just stays in the bankruptcy. It won't stop it from being sold, but it'll stop it temporarily. So a Chapter 7 is a bankruptcy. It's got nothing to do with tax liens and deeds.
All right, I'm glad you cleared that up because, as you said, there's a lot of misinformation out there.
I'm not giving you legal advice or anything like that. I'm not an attorney, but I've been around this business for 30 years. The bankruptcy law stops everything. It stops car payments, stops mortgage payments, stops creditors, even stops the county temporarily until they can sort it all out, and then the auction will take place.
And it's my understanding that
for this conversation.
Yeah. Well, another question is, it's my understanding that, a California tax deed sale is a little different, that the tax collector says, don't begin improvements to the property for 1 year after the deed sale. Now, is that an unusual rule? And why do they make you do that? And is it a rule or a suggestion? Do I have to do it? Do I have to wait a year?
Well, someone's giving you bad information, okay? When the auction takes place in California, and I'll explain this difference, but give me a second. When the auction takes place in California, it's a final auction. When the gavel comes down, it's a final auction, all right? That means whoever the highest bidder was, whoever held their card up and had the highest bidder and said card number so-and-so, that person or group of people or whatever now owns the property. They just have to wait till they get the deed. The deed is the document from the county. All right, they own that property. So the day that that deed is filed, they own the property. So they own the property. They don't have anything to do with not fixing the property up. Now, we are not covering it on this video, but on other videos and other episodes, we'll cover redeemable deeds like they have in Texas and in Georgia and in Connecticut and places like that. Those redeemable deeds, you don't want to fix those properties up because the guy can come and redeem it. He's going to take all the improvements with him. So in California, and let's stay with California,
Right.
in California, when the gavel comes down, when that sheriff says, or the auctioneer or the treasurer, when they say sold, it's over. I'm going to tell you right now that they're not going to change it. So it's got nothing to do with fixing the property up or any of that business. So there's so much misinformation. I can tell you right now, there's 100 people that talk about tax liens and deeds. So anybody that buys my book or buys one of my videos or watch YouTube, they read it and then suddenly they're an expert. I'm going to tell you, you want to be cautious on who you're buying from. You need to go to experts. We've been doing this for 30 years. I'm not a tax expert, but I can tell you, I make my living buying and selling tax defaulted property. Do you think I always did that perfectly? No, but that's why you're going to benefit because I know the mistakes people make.
You've had a lot of experience doing it, Ted.
30 years.
Right. Well, another question, again, this being California, if I purchase tax deeds in California and the owner or previous tenants are still on that property, is the county going to help me get them off the property?
Well, when you purchase a property, what you did is you now own the property. So what's that got to do with the county? No, the county is not going to help you with that. All right, so let's make it simple. Everybody makes things hard. All right, attorneys want things to be hard, so you have to pay them a lot of money. So why don't I make it easy so you don't have to pay any money? First of all, go get an attorney, hire the attorney that does one thing and one thing only. And what that one thing is you want an attorney that evicts people, evict. All right, evict means move the people off the property. That attorney will make out some papers, they'll fill out the papers, and they will file them with the court. And once they file them with the court, then the court will have the sheriff go down there and say, all right, folks, you got an eviction. You're out of here in so many days, or I'll come and move you out. The sheriff shows up with a badge and a gun, and he says, you're out. And that's how you get people out of a property. The county has nothing to do with that. All the county does is administer the county's business, collect the taxes, make sure that people follow the rules, fix the roads, take care of the school teachers, take care of the fire department, take care of the police department. The county has nothing to do with eviction on properties.
Okay. Hey, Ted, I know another thing, you always stress the importance of doing a lot of research before bidding on any property anywhere. Do I need to do a title search before I bid? And what will a California title search tell me that I need to know ahead of time?
Okay, well, a title search is something that you always want to do if you can. All right, now you can do that yourself. Okay, now we actually have classes where we teach you how to tap into the computer. Anything on any piece of real estate in the United States that you want to know is at the public records. That means the county office. At the public records, all real estate records are public. Now in California, they try to hide a little bit of it to protect people that are famous in the Hollywood Hills and stuff. They want to be, they want to be left alone. So basically, you can research anything, like the size of the property. You can search any loans on the property, any defects in the title you can research. But physical things you have to go look at. But definitely the people that win in this business, this is a business where you sit on your assets like we're doing right now. You sit on your assets and you learn how to use a computer. In the old days, 30 years ago when I started, you wanted to spend all your time out there on the road looking at the property. Now, I'm not suggesting you don't look at the property, but you do want to look at it. But now you can do all of this research. So the people that learn to be good researchers, they're going to be the ones that are going to make the most money in the future.
Well, let me ask you just one last question, Ted, because this sounds great. And if I want to get started doing this, where am I going to find a California delinquent property tax list so I can
The
consider
easiest
doing
thing
this?
to do is if they look at the screen right now, we're going to put up what I call an auction calendar, and they'll see a lot of little circles. And if they just move the cursor as they see the cursor moving, it moves over the state and tells them how many auctions are there. If they click the cursor, it's immediately going to go to an auction. So if they don't even want to do that, when they finish the video below me, they can just request an auction list, and we'll give them a list for a sample list of what it looks like. But all of the counties in the United States produce a list. Now, we're not going to give everybody a free list, but anybody that wants to see a sample of one, they can just go below me and get one.
Well, that's great. Why don't you do it right now, as Ted says, and get started on this? Hey, Ted, thanks a lot for sharing with us.